Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the official launch of the Detroit Financial Wellbeing Innovation Challenge. So good to see everybody on this snowy Tuesday. Y'all doing all right? It's gray and it's snowy in the city of Detroit, but hopefully this will be a boost to your day. Happy Black History Month, everybody. My name is Orlando Bailey. I serve as the Director of Engagement for Bridge Detroit. Bridge Detroit is a news and engagement organization that seeks to provide journalism for Detroiters who identify their own priorities with where they live. And so we seek to provide answers, solutions, accountability, and ask the questions that Detroiters are asking as it relates to their Detroit experience. I'm so excited to have everybody here with us today. I cannot think of a better time to talk about eradicating poverty in the city of Detroit than the present. So we got a full action-packed agenda for you, but we want to establish just some of the housekeeping rules or some of the Zoom norms that we want to carry out for today, because this isn't a webinar. This is literally a Zoom meeting. So we want everybody to be on their best behavior. So this is what we're asking. We're going to ask you to please keep your microphone muted outside of the breakout rooms, because the speakers will hear you if you unmute yourself, and we don't want them to be distracted. We want you to share your thoughts and reactions as we go throughout the agenda in the chat. So let's make this the most interactive experience that we can. You can view a live transcript of the event by following the instructions on the screen. You can see it now. Want to let you also know that this session is being recorded. The session recording will be shared in the event recap email along with the slides and links throughout the meeting. And as questions arise, feel free to put them in the chat or attend the Q&A session next Wednesday, February 9th. Again, the Q&A session will be next Wednesday, February 9th, and the registration link should be there it is. It should be in the chat. All right, so let's do a quick run through of the agenda. Today, you'll hear from some of the phenomenal folks leading this challenge. You'll hear about how the challenge came to be, the local and historical context within which we are operating, and how you, yes, you can get involved. But first, let's talk about collaboration. The Financial Wellbeing Challenge is all about collaboration, working together to solve complex issues, recognizing that we are stronger together. So here, we don't want you to forget to remain respectful of other perspectives as we get into lively discussions about financial stability in our city. The facts and figures we'll discuss represent real life experiences and hardships. And these issues are deeply personal to many of us on the call today. So be sure to respect the voices, opinions, and the experiences of others. All right, so this is what we want to do really quickly. We're going to take the slides down, right? And I want you all to take a moment to go to the view button in your upper right-hand corner and go to gallery view. That's right. I want you to switch your screen to gallery view. And let's do a collective wave before we get started. Just say hi to everybody. Let's establish community. Let's establish a norm of fellowship and love. Let's start from a place of love and fellowship. Hey, y'all, I see some people I know. It's good to see you. I saw Tammy. Hey, Tammy. I see some of my good friends here in the city of Detroit. Hey, everybody. So happy to see each of you. Oh man, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Okay, so now that we've done that, now that we've established our community, let's go ahead and get started. So now I am going to hand the mic over to Dr. Darianne Hudson and Dr. Luke Schaefer to deliver their welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Orlando, for that warm welcome and getting everyone excited and enthusiastic about the charge that lays before us today. This day is a long time coming, and I'm so proud to be leading the United Way at this time, because there is no more important time than the present. And to see so many of you on this call just gives me hope, and also the knowledge that we are going to get through this. And we'll have different news and a different report a short time from now, because so many people are raising their hands to be a part of the solution. At United Way, we are working to foster a region of equitable communities where all of our households are stable and every child can thrive. A main focus of our work is ensuring that our families have access to resources that contribute to their financial stability and put them on the path towards financial prosperity, like affordable housing, good paying jobs, and assistance in times of crisis. We cannot accomplish these goals without also addressing the systemic barriers that create inequitable access to economic opportunity. We know that for many of our Detroit families, the deck is stacked against them, but we're here to do something about that. As the financial well-being of Detroit residents report released last year showed us, 56% of our Detroiters are either financially insecure or in financial trouble. Detroiters disproportionately face high costs of living and substantial barriers to good jobs and quality education. Affordable childcare, safe housing, reliable transportation, and so many basic needs play a role in helping our families reach stability. Though the financial disadvantages that we're discussing today have been around for many decades, they've been exacerbated by this worldwide pandemic that we continue to find ourselves in. These are turbulent times for everyone, but some communities are clearly, measurably more impacted than others. Opportunity gaps and institutional roadblocks to financial stability for the most vulnerable, particularly among our Black and Brown populations, have persisted for far too long. Today, we're standing up together, not just to understand the reality so many are living in, but to do something about it. And I'm so proud that we're doing this during Black History Month, to be able to say that we came together as a community to really make a change. When people start looking at what was done 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they can talk about this day and the progress that was made as a result of it. Over the last 2 years, we have learned that we are stronger when we stand united. In the face of unprecedented challenges, we have seen new investment in our region. We've brought innovative ideas to the table, and we've built new collaborative partnerships. At this moment, we are poised to create real change and build systems that set every child and every family up for long-term success. It's fitting that we are kicking off this challenge now as a majority Black city that has faced decades of deliberately designed disadvantages, which perpetuate generational poverty and make it so much harder for our residents to thrive. I know that we can get this done, and I look forward to the day when people are able to look at Detroit as a model of what is working for families, what's working for Black families, what's working for Brown families. The research by the University of Michigan Poverty Solutions allows us to better understand these challenges and begin the work of building tangible and lasting solutions. We're proud to continue to partner with the Poverty Solutions team in this spirit of collaboration, working together to catalyze, new ideas, test our assumptions, and learn and grow together. Dr. Luke Schaefer, my friend, the director of University of Michigan Poverty Solutions, is also here with us, and he will share more important details of this report and the work that lies ahead. Luke, it's good to see you.
Dr. Hudson, so great to see you too. For the second time this week, that makes it a good week. We were together for an important press conference on making sure people file their taxes and get that child tax credit and EITC. But the Detroit Financial Wellbeing Innovation Challenge, it's exactly the type of thing we want to be doing at Poverty Solutions, partnering with incredible groups like United Way. Our mission is to partner with communities and policymakers to find new ways to prevent and alleviate poverty. We like to do research that matters, reports that change things in the world. But we also think it's central to our work is doing this in partnership. We want to recognize that scholars and academics and data nerds like myself, who just love tables, tables make us feel warm inside. We don't remotely have all the answers. In fact, we often don't know the right questions to ask. But when we act in partnership, when we start with listening and trying to figure out what is on people's minds, and then we try to think creatively, right? We look for those innovations that we can do when we work together. that we really do believe that we can achieve things that enhance people's lives, that help them live the types of lives that they want to. So I think this example is exactly the types of things we want to be doing, led by our team member who you're going to meet in a minute, doing some research that could help spur activity and hopefully just start a conversation with all of you here today about what are the new innovations that we can be doing. And Dr. Hudson, I just love the way that you're thinking about like, how can Detroit be the model, right? How can we be looking back in years to come and say, you know what, those guys got it right? That was the way to do it. And that was the way to really empower, to create a community that empowers families. So we are just so excited to be partnering with like-minded partners like the United Way. We're hoping that all of you, what a great turnout, by the way. All of you are going to find like-minded partners here together today that can really work on concrete, tangible ways to achieve our goals. I'm particularly glad to just be able to introduce my friend and colleague, the Assistant Director of Community Initiatives at Poverty Solutions, and one of the masterminds behind this financial well-being initiative. I'm going to turn the mic over to the one, the only Afton Branch Wilson.
Thank you, Luke. What an intro. You always set me up so well for success. I'm Afton Branch Wilson, the Assistant Director, as Luke said, of Community Initiatives at Poverty Solutions. I'm going to spend my time today giving a quick history of this partnership and grounding us in some of the research that I conducted on financial well-being to give us a shared understanding of the issue. So way back in 2019, when a lot of us worked in person, Megan Tybus, who you hear from later, came to us at Poverty Solutions in search of research on financial well-being in Detroit. The goal was to find out, what do we know about residents' financial circumstances and document those learnings. So I spent the next several months collecting research and data on the issue. And last January in 2021, we gathered many of you here to release my report and share its findings with you all. So thanks for attending that, and thanks to some of you who are joining us today from that session. After our launch last winter, Megan, myself, and our colleagues at United Way and Poverty Solutions, we spent 2021 in planning mode, developing this challenge, which we really hope will drive action on the challenges to financial well-being I highlighted in the report. Our planning included a few rounds of community feedback and time spent incorporating those suggestions, and we're really excited to launch today. So let's take a couple minutes to define what is financial well-being and understand what it looks like in Detroit together. So financial stability is the foundation of financial well-being. And we are financially stable when we can maintain what we call positive cash flow. There's extra money left over each month. This positive cash flow helps us maintain what we call the financial cushions that are needed for stability. So that could be a stable income. That could be emergency savings, a manageable amount of debt. These cushions are needed for stability, as well as access to credit. These types of cushions help you weather financial shocks. COVID-19 is one of those financial shocks for many. Folks saw cuts in hours, they saw layoffs. And so the ability to maintain savings, have a little bit of room on your credit card helps you weather those shocks. Now, in the long term, financial well-being looks like the ability to protect assets, to grow wealth, and to build toward things like house, education, etc. So having funds left over is the foundation of financial well-being. But according to the Detroit Metro Area Community Study, about 56% of Detroiters don't have that foundation of financial well-being. More than half of households, that's about 56%, say that they don't have enough money left over at the end of the month, or they have just enough. That's about 150,000 households. So in this report, we document to what extent these financial disadvantages in Detroit are widespread and the result of structural inequities and systemic barriers experienced really above and beyond what residents of peer Rust Belt cities like Buffalo, Cleveland are facing. In the report, we document that in Detroit, there's a lower labor force participation rate than other places. There are multiple layered barriers to accessing employment that many of you know about. This looks like transportation challenges and the concentration of these low-paying jobs, not good jobs in the city. So higher proportions of Detroiters compared to their peers in other places, they make ends meet facing these conditions by taking on unmanageable debt, which damages their credit. And without these cushions like income, savings, manageable debt, too many Detroiters over the past decade have faced foreclosure, eviction, and bankruptcy at really astonishing rates. But the cost of these bills is really tied to a set of systems beyond residents' control. You shouldn't think of debt, for example, as the result of folks not being able to balance their checkbook, but instead, at the scale of the city, it's the consequence of many residents, thousands of residents acting within flawed systems. So I'll take you through a couple of examples. Cost of living. Many of us know that auto insurance is still the highest in the nation. Our property taxes, despite reassessments, despite many programs to enable people to afford them, the taxes themselves are still higher than in many other cities. And our water system rates are based on aging infrastructure and a shrinking population. So Detroiters are asked to pay these higher costs, even though they're grappling with lower incomes and access to good jobs in their neighborhoods is limited. So we know that the failure to invest in public transportation limits access to good jobs, both the ability to access jobs in the suburbs and also across town. These are systemic issues that are really beyond individuals' control and individual behavior. Another example I like to talk about and is in the report is the credit score. So according to some research by Urban Institute, about 2/3 of Detroiters have subprime credit. That's compared to about 45% of Cleveland residents. And we typically talk about credit scores as a reflection of individual behavior, right? Did you pay on time? Did you pay down your balance? But in Detroit, credit scores also reflect our city's horrific history of tax and mortgage foreclosure, which scholars argue, of course, were fueled by the history of property tax overassessment and banks' predatory behavior toward Black and Latino families. This is not driven by the individual failure to budget at scale. And we know that a foreclosure hurts your credit history for about 7 years. And without good credit, it's a challenge to find an affordable apartment, secure a car loan in your budget, or even get a good paying job, because sometimes your new employer asks for your credit history. So given all these systems that I talk about, we argue that existing tools like a match savings account or a homeowner's education class are really important, but they're insufficient to tackle these systemic and structural causes of financial instability in Detroit. We find that traditional approaches to building financial well-being often focus on individuals, encouraging them to learn about positive financial behavior, saving, putting things away, or it encourages folks to use new app to save spare change, things like that. And these are important tools to offer and provide meaningful support to some Detroiters, absolutely. But they don't change the systemic context around individuals. So a system that, for example, asks renters to pay half of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. We're here today to encourage more action, to seed innovative approaches by focusing on changing these overall systems. We're really looking for ideas that aim to mitigate some of these barriers at the community level, instead of asking individuals to overcome them individually. We really need approaches that expand the pathways to opportunity at scale. So our goal is really to move toward a Detroit where financial well-being is accessible to more families. And we've partnered with the United Way to launch this challenge, which aims to support innovation. Next slide, please. The format of our challenge is a multi-year 4-stage innovation competition that pairs seed funding with technical assistance to support organizations with big ideas, with the potential to, we hope, improve the financial lives of thousands of Detroiters. You'll hear much more about the structure of the challenge from Megan Tybus later, but we hope you'll get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Afton, for that amazing presentation. And thank you for putting quantifiable data to the experience of so many Detroiters. Thank you for giving voice and agency to those Detroiters that lays bare these systemic inequities that we are fighting to eradicate every single day. Listen, my mom taught me when I was coming up that when you enter a room, you speak. So if you are here and we don't know you here, if you haven't said your name and information in the chat. We want you to go ahead, utilize the chat. Let us know that you are here with us and that you are an active participant. Listen, I have the privilege to introduce Stephen Henderson. Stephen Henderson is the host of Detroit Today. You can listen to him every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on WDET. He is also the host of American Black Journal on Detroit Public Television. And he also happens to be the founder and executive editor of Bridge Detroit, which makes him my colleague. So I am excited to welcome my colleague, my boss, y'all, Stephen Henderson. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks so much for attending this Innovation Challenge launch. My friend Orlando has already got you all super charged up, it seems like, about being here, excited on a day when none of us can go outside anyway, because look out the window, it's really starting to come down out there. So I've thought a lot about what I wanted to say since they asked me to speak here, and I want to thank the United Way for asking me to speak during this launch. And of course, I'm a storyteller, so I'm just going to tell stories. I don't know how else to make a point. So I want to start with a story from our radio show last week that I think makes very well the point that I want to share with you today. If you're not familiar with our show, as Orlando said, 9 to 10 every day, we talk about all kinds of issues, local issues, national issues, international issues. We talk about culture, we talk about politics, we talk about economics, but we focus a lot on the idea of inequality. And when I use that word, I mean inequalities of all different kinds. But we have a special focus on Detroit Today, really, with racial and economic inequalities. We spend a lot of time thinking about those things and talking about those things. And we do it in some ways that are kind of non-traditional. So last week, we were talking with the author of a book who wrote about the love that we here in the Midwest, in the old Rust Belt, have for the places that we're from. And the fact that that love doesn't always pay us back, that often the places that we love so deeply cause us pain and have inflicted real consequences on us because of the things that have changed. And as always, we include our listeners in that conversation. It's a show that's really focused on the listeners calling in and adding to the conversation, sharing their perspectives and their histories. And there was a guy who called in who wanted to talk about Brightmoor, which was the community that he was from. And best as I could tell, this was an older white gentleman who lived in the suburbs now. But he talked about this great experience he'd had growing up in Brightmoor, which of course is a community that was built up after World War II for returning vets. They put up a lot of inexpensive housing, gave vets access to that housing, and gave them opportunities to start building their way into the middle class. And this caller was talking about how great it was to grow up in that environment, and that no, not everybody was wealthy or middle class. There were a lot of people who were struggling. There were a lot of unpleasant things that they experienced in that community when he was young. But he said he always looks back quite fondly on Brightmoor, and he talks about not being from Brightmoor, but being forged by it, that the things he experienced in that community really set him on his way and made him the person that he is today. I thought this was a wonderful call. It was exactly what we were looking for people to share during that conversation. But then later, I started to think about the community he was talking about, Brightmoor, and the opportunity he was talking about that his family had experienced growing up in Brightmoor, and the fact that he had been able to move out of that community to better community, a better community in terms of opportunity, a better community in terms of economic stability. And it made me start thinking about a couple of things. One, the people who are still in Brightmoor, which is a community that has changed an awful lot over the last 30 to 50 years. It's a community that struggles a lot more today than it did then. It's a community that looks a lot blacker than it did back in those days. And it's a reminder of who hasn't been given opportunity, who's been locked out of the kinds of opportunities that this caller was talking about had made such an important impact in his life. It also made me think about why that was true. What are the things that created those inequities in places like Brightmoor? Now, we had less of that in Brightmoor than we've had in other parts of the city, but we do know, for instance, that a lot of the things that allowed people to buy homes after World War II in Brightmoor were offered to white Americans in a way that they were not offered to African Americans. And so we start immediately in a community like that, building the community with a huge gap in place, a systemic gap that is enforced by all kinds of different institutions. And so I thought to myself about the opportunity and the obligation to talk about that phone call in the context of the city in which this guy was talking about, in the neighborhood that he was talking about growing up in. And we didn't have a chance to do it while he was on the phone. We were talking about his experience. But what I wished I could have done was go back and ask him how aware he was of the difference between opportunities that are available to white families and opportunities that weren't available to Black families. I want to tell another story that I think makes this point as well. I spend a lot of time these days in the community where I was born here in Detroit. It's on the near west side, near Livernois and Grand River. St. Cecilia Church was always the anchor in that community when I was a kid. And it was a really wonderful place to be from. About 10 years ago, though, I noticed that the house that my family lived in when I was born had gone empty and abandoned, and that was happening in large number to lots of properties in the neighborhood. And so I bought our old house and started a nonprofit that's focused on celebrating the idea of words and ideas and their power to make community change. And that's been going fine. That's been going quite wonderfully. It makes me feel very good to be connected to that neighborhood and to be part of the solutions in that neighborhood. But as I've gotten to know that neighborhood again, that community again, and gotten to know our neighbors over there, one of the things I'm coming across over and over again are people who lived in that community when I was born 50 years ago. People whose parents lived in that community 50 years ago. And the things that they've lost, the things that they had back then that just don't exist anymore. My godparents, who are the people who owned our house, it was a duplex, we lived upstairs, they lived downstairs, are a really good example of that. They bought that house in 1960 for about $40,000. For an African-American family back then in the city, by the way, to be able to buy a house for $40,000 in a neighborhood like that, which had been all white since its inception, was a pretty big deal. It was a huge accomplishment for that family. That should have been the seed of intergenerational wealth. That $40,000 house, had it been in almost any other community here in Southeast Michigan, would now be worth multiples of that number. And the kids and the grandkids of the people who made that purchase would be the beneficiaries of that growth and wealth. But because that community was isolated, because that community was cut off from lots of the opportunities that other people were experiencing. For instance, the building of the Jeffries Freeway in 1973, which split that community right down the center, cut it off from the commercial part of the community that it had enjoyed. The houses in that neighborhood today are practically worthless. That house that my godparents paid $43,000 for, I bought in 2017 for $500. And so what happens to that family? What happens to the intergenerational wealth, the very basis on which we talk about opportunity in this country? It's gone. And it's not just gone for that family. I could go up and down the block of every street in that neighborhood and talk about the families who made the right choices, made the right investments, did the right things, but for reasons far beyond their control, never reaped the benefits. I think the reason I'm really focused on those two stories right now is that when you talk about a challenge to deal with financial well-being, to deal with the poverty that we have in the city, I think you have to start there with these systemic inequities, the things that happened long ago in some cases in Detroit that have produced the data that U of M Poverty Solutions was just sharing with us. This didn't just happen. This didn't just develop. This is a product of a systematic approach to inequality. And I don't think we can talk about solutions to that. I don't think we can talk about a future that looks different without fronting the fact that those inequalities are tied to those fundamental inequities that exist in a systemic way. I think too often we don't do that. I think too often we're sheepish about talking about those things. We don't draw direct connections between those things and the present. And we certainly don't talk about what should happen for those specific people who were at the consequential end of those policies. How do we give them opportunity, specifically them? How do we make up for the opportunities they never had? And how do we make sure that in the future, that doesn't repeat itself? Intergenerational poverty is what we deal with so much in the city of Detroit. We want to change that to intergenerational wealth and wealth building. You're talking about stability now, that's the first step, but really, we want it to go much further. I don't think we can do that unless we're willing and vigilant about talking about where all of this comes from, where it started, what created these neighborhoods that we all work so hard right now just to keep people going, just to keep people fed, just to keep people with a roof over their head and utilities. Why does it look this way? What did we do that helped create that? For me, that's the innovative part. And that's the innovative opportunity of this challenge. Front the history, front the systemic end of it, front the institutional change that we need in order to get to something better. Again, I want to thank the United Way for having me speak today. I want to say congratulations to United Way and U of M Poverty Solutions, two really great organizations here in Southeast Michigan that I'm quite fond of. I think this is a wonderful idea, and I look very much forward to seeing what all of this brings for us.
Just wow. Thank you. That was Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Stephen Henderson, everybody. And if you don't know why he has a Pulitzer, I think listening to that story of how he has just tied in the historical inequities with his personalized experiences as a journalist, but also as a citizen, as a family member here in the city of Detroit. Very, very powerful. All too often, our experiences, our realities, especially as Black and Brown Detroiters, are mirrored in art forms, especially by Black and Brown artists, right? Our artistries always talk about what we are experiencing in the present. I want to remind everybody that if you're not speaking, to please mute yourself. We're going to do our best to make sure that everybody is muted. But I want to bring Verhinda Williams. She's coming to us with a personalized spoken word poetry performance. And we want you guys to get ready. We want you to snap your fingers. Yes, that's poetry etiquette. I'm not rapping, Rishi, but Verhinda is coming with a spoken word poetry performance. Verhinda, take it away.
All right, peace, everybody. So typically in poetry, there's a lot of energy happening in the space, and I know we're on Zoom. So to all of my Detroiters, what up though? To mi familia hispanohablante, buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? I am Verhinda. I am the founder of the Power of Girlhood, and super happy to be here with you today to share this piece. And I hope that you do enjoy it. I am the daughter of the city, a daughter of the hands of the GM assembly line, daughter of those who dare to demand integration, granddaughter of sharecroppers and day walkers, granddaughter of the backwoods of North Carolina, Alabama, and Arkansas, coming to Detroit, the Emerald City. Detroit will call you to be the very best. But listen, can you hear that? It is the sound of rage, grief, and despair. And while poverty has no color because it lacks green, poverty deeply resides with those who have hands who have labored like my ancestors before me. In the neighborhoods of Black and brown bodies, money must also reside. Can you hear that? It's the cry of the basic needs that need to be met. Can you hear that? It is the cry for security and protection. Can you hear that? It is the cry of dreams interrupted and broken. Can you hear that? It is the cry for us to take up the mantle and heal the city, heal the whole city, not just for a chosen few who have seats at the tables of power and influence. Heal the whole city, not just for those who come to play and profit from urban decay. Detroit was the city of promise for many who were seeking a better life. Detroit is still the city of promise. And I promise you, if you loosen up the grips of power and greed and feed those most in need. We have 140,000 souls of untapped potential. Silence is betrayal. When the hands of power and influence extend their hands to the rejected, we will see not just a new Detroit, but a Detroit of promise. When those who are closest to the power labor for those who are the furthest from it, there will be a bridge of hope and oppression shall cease. Detroit, I promise will bring out the best in you. So now give your best to the city. Detroit gave you mobility. Detroit gave you the soundtrack of your life. Detroit gave you revolution. Now let us join both hand and heart to lift and move those at the margins to the center. Let us move from a blind eye to full sight and actualization. The concept of connection is not new, but required. The concept of community is not new, but required. Neither is listening, and that too is required. We must shift the narrative on poverty as it is human-made and must therefore be human-healed. But are you willing? Detroit gave you power, but what will you do for your city? I'm Brenda. Thank you.
Wow, we're in this. I'm snapping over here. Oh my gosh. Daughter of this city, granddaughter of sharecroppers. Detroit calls you to be your very best. What an amazing piece. Listen, we got just a minute and I got to ask you this question. You know, being on the receiving end of the historical inequities that disproportionately affect people that look like you and me, but also having this gift with words. How do you function in this duality of experiencing what we're talking about and having the urge to write about it?
Wow. Thank you so much for that question. And I would like to say that Detroit has been the catalyst and a demonstrator of revolution and
Yeah.
artistry. So it's just always been here. I mean, we talk about Motown and we talk about Marvin Gaye. I remember, if anyone has watched the film, the Marvel film of The Winter Soldier, and while he was frozen, Anthony Mackie's character gives him some music to listen to, and he's like, "Well, what did I miss?" And he gives him Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On."
Yeah.
So I feel that they're just sort of in tandem. This is just what we do. We will not be silenced. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I'm like, no, baby. If you can make it in Detroit,
Right.
you can make it here. And I do believe that when you can access the whatever your artistry is, it helps you to process the heavier emotion, but then also leads to inspiration to do something.
Yeah, the impetus for action. Brenda, thank you so much for sharing your gift with us, your gift of spoken word. What a transcendently spiritual moment we just had. Thank you so much. All right, we got to keep the program moving. We're going to hear from Deborah Perizet, who's going to bring to us an interactive activity from the Henry Ford Learning Institute. Debbie, good to see you.
Orlando, thank you so much. I am so moved by what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what's inspiring to me. We've had the opportunity today to learn so much about the current context and the historical inequities that Detroiters face when we consider their financial well-being. And like me, you're probably already thinking about what we might do to address some of those obstacles or challenges. Together, we'd like to hear from you about what are some of those early ideas and encourage you to think innovatively and aspirationally. To get you started, we'd like you to imagine that you have a magic wand that can improve Detroiters' financial lives. What would you use your magic wand for? We'd like you to use the link in the chat to record your response in Mentimeter, or navigate your way to menti.com and enter the code that's going to be shown on the screen. We're going to ask that you use 1 to 3 words to capture that idea right now. So get interactive. We want to hear from you. And those words will be combined into a single word cloud that we'll use to reflect and discuss later in the program. So we're going to give you a few minutes just right now to start thinking and share those 1 to 3 words, either by using the link in the chat for Mentimeter, or by navigating to menti.com and using the code that you see right there. So I'm excited to see and hear what starts to show up in this word cloud. And I'm seeing some really powerful, powerful words, reparations being right at the center, education and cash, income. It's moving so quickly, so many ideas are coming in, and more will continue to come in. So please keep those ideas coming. I'm also seeing some in the chat as well. We'll continue to build this word cloud and keep inspiring you to think about and push forward for innovation and aspirational ideas that can really address Detroiters' financial well-being. So let me turn it back over.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Education and reparations right in the center. Why am I not surprised by that? The people closest to the problem know what we need to eradicate the problem. I am happy to introduce Megan Tybus, who's going to do an overview of the Financial Wellbeing Innovation Challenge and our call to action. Everybody, let's give a warm welcome to Megan Tybus.
Thanks, Orlando, and thank you so much, Debbie, for leading us through that word cloud activity. I'm so excited to see the ideas already emerging. So keep putting your ideas into the Mentimeter, and we'll come back to those later in the program. And to Stephen and Brenda, thank you so much for sharing your time and talents with us today. You did such a fantastic job of grounding us in what these inequities that we're trying to address with this challenge look like on a personal level. Brenda, you gave me goosebumps, and Stephen, you are absolutely right. We want to transition from intergenerational poverty to intergenerational wealth. That is what it's all about. And financial stability and financial well-being is the first step on that journey. So now I have the distinct pleasure, I'm so excited to share with you all the details about how the Detroit Financial Wellbeing Innovation Challenge will provide a structure and a process to nurture your big ideas to improve Detroiters' financial lives from concept all the way to reality. As Afton mentioned earlier, our goal with this challenge is to drive big ideas and big changes that will make it easier for Detroiters to thrive financially. So how are we going to do that? We know that the root causes of Detroiters' financial disadvantages, those structural inequities and systemic barriers that Afton and Stephen have discussed, they've been building for decades, and big ideas to change those conditions won't just happen overnight. That's why we've structured this challenge as a multi-stage process with lots of support to help participating organizations develop and refine their ideas, test their assumptions and build necessary partnerships, try out their solutions as a pilot, and ultimately scale the most successful ideas to move the needle on financial well-being and economic equity for all Detroiters. We'll be providing seed funding and lots of technical assistance with this challenge. Unlike most grant competitions, that technical assistance starts right now before grants are issued. I'll talk more in a few minutes about what that looks like. But first, the who. The who is you, all of you all. We know that the most ideas get better with collaboration, and that big changes to address underlying systemic inequities take cross-sector collaboration to achieve. This challenge is open to a wide range of organizations: nonprofit, community or neighborhood-based, faith-based, government, quasi-government, financial institutions, private sector, and anything in between. Everyone has a role to play. We're especially hoping to see some cross-sector partnerships applying together as a collaborative team. We also firmly believe that Detroit residents who have lived with these inequities, with the financial deck stacked against them for so many years, have some of the best ideas about how to improve things. That's why this challenge will have lots of opportunities for active community participation. Residents will have the opportunity to submit their own ideas and share feedback on applicants' early ideas. So what's this all going to look like? This challenge will invest more than $2 million in 4 stages over the next 5 years. Between each stage, there will be a selection process to move to the next stage. The first stage is the concept stage. That starts today. In the concept stage, we hope to gather as many big ideas as possible. This will be a participatory and collaborative experience with technical assistance workshops and opportunities for community input. In May, applicant teams will submit a final concept proposal for review. Successful applicants will be invited to build on their concept proposal to submit a proposal for a 6-month planning grant. In the planning stage, which kicks off this summer, planning grantees will receive $20,000 in significant technical assistance to fill in all of the details needed to take their big idea from concept to reality. At the end of the planning stage next spring, planning grantees will be invited to finalize their plans into a proposal for a pilot grant up to $200,000 to implement their idea starting in summer 2023. Those pilots will run for 12 months. In summer 2024, pilot grantees will have the opportunity to reflect on lessons learned during the pilot phase and submit a proposal to scale their ideas over 2 years with up to $1 million in funding. I'll go through each of these stages in a bit more detail, but first I want to take a minute to clarify the kinds of ideas we're hoping to support with this challenge. What do we mean by a big idea? Again, we're looking for innovative ideas that tackle those underlying systemic inequities and structural barriers to financial opportunity that Afton discussed. That means we're looking for ideas that are new to Detroit. Your idea can be completely brand new, or it can build on something that's already happening in Detroit or elsewhere in the country. We're looking for ideas that are game-changing. Traditional approaches teach individuals how to play the financial game better. But the financial deck is stacked against Detroiters, and the best players in the world can only get so far with a stacked deck. With this challenge, we're looking to support innovative ideas that help to unstack that deck, that create new financial opportunities, that make it structurally easier to access opportunities, and that address barriers to financial well-being at a community or systemic level. We're looking for ideas that are informed. UM's fantastic report is a great place to start. Community feedback is essential, and organizations' prior experiences provide important insights. We're looking for ideas that are doable. We want to shoot for the moon here, but we're going to need a rocket ship to get there. So as you develop your ideas, think about what needs to go right to be successful and what might get in the way. We're looking for ideas that are scalable, ideas that have the potential to grow and benefit many Detroiters across the city. If you're a neighborhood organization that focuses on a specific neighborhood, that's okay. We still want your ideas. Consider partnering with other organizations so that your neighborhood residents can benefit and your idea has an opportunity to scale beyond your neighborhood. Finally, we're looking for ideas that are equitable. Your idea should help move the needle on economic equity in Detroit. Now, I know that all sounds ambitious, and it is. This challenge is designed precisely to create a structure, funding, and ongoing support to nurture your ambitious, innovative, big ideas into reality. So here are a few high-level examples to spur your thinking. Automating access to benefits, so fewer people miss out on valuable benefits because they didn't apply or didn't know they were eligible. Expanding banking and savings access. We know that Detroit has some of the highest rates of residents who don't have or don't use a bank account. What would it look like for neighborhood groups to partner with a financial institution to create new and unconventional ways to appeal to and reach residents currently left out? Creating affordable small dollar loans for credit challenged borrowers. For many Detroiters in need of a little extra cash to deal with an emergency or finance a large purchase, the options are either extremely expensive or inaccessible. How might we offer more affordable, accessible options? And broadly accessible pathways into homeownership. Many Detroiters are paying more in rent than it would cost to buy a home if they had access to loan financing designed to work in Detroit's unique market. How might we make homeownership more accessible for the majority of Detroiters to help build that intergenerational wealth? Again, these are just examples to get your creative juices flowing. Certainly don't let them limit your thinking. Now I'm going to walk through the challenge process in a little bit more detail. Today, we're launching the concept stage. In the concept stage, we hope to gather as many big ideas as possible. If you're a Detroit resident with a big idea, we'd love to hear it. Visit us on Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the chat to join the conversation. Or you can put your idea directly in the chat. We'll share your ideas with applicant organizations to consider as they develop their challenge proposals. The first step for organizations interested in participating is to submit an expression of interest form. This very short form helps us get to know your organization and lets us know you're interested. We hope you'll submit it right away in the next week or so. Once you submit your expression of interest form, you'll receive invitations to participate in technical assistance workshops and collaboration events. Debbie and the Henry Ford Learning Institute will be offering human-centered design workshops to help you develop and refine your idea. Afton and the U of M Poverty Solutions team will be offering a workshop on clarifying your theory of change. And United Way will be hosting collaboration mixers to create opportunities for you to connect and form partnerships with other applicants. The next step for applicant organizations or collaborative teams is to record a 2-minute video pitch describing your big idea by April 4th. United Way will be coordinating a community feedback process in which community residents will provide feedback on your idea. With the benefit of that feedback, applicant teams will then submit their full concept proposal by May 9th. We'll review the proposals, and the strongest concepts will be invited to submit a proposal for a planning stage grant. The application for the planning stage will focus on work plans for a 6-month planning grant. During that planning stage, selected grantees will test critical assumptions, develop key partnerships, flesh out the program or service design, gather more feedback, create prototypes, and define measures of success. Everything you need to do to be able to push go on a pilot implementation. We expect to award about 20 planning stage grants. These grantees will receive $20,000 and lots of technical assistance support to turn their concepts into concrete reality. Debbie and the Henry Ford Learning Institute team and Afton and the U of M Poverty Solutions team will again be providing workshops and individual coaching to support applicant teams throughout the planning stage. At the end of the planning stage, grantees will be invited to reflect on their learnings and finalize their plans into a proposal for a 12-month pilot grant. Based on work done in the planning stage, selected grantees will hit the ground running and stand up their pilot implementations quickly. Over the course of the 12 months pilot, grantees will work out the kinks, gathering ongoing feedback and refining their implementation. With support from U of M Poverty Solutions, we'll be carefully measuring the success of each pilot. We expect to award about 7 pilot grants of up to $200,000. We'll continue to offer robust technical assistance and a community of practice for pilot grantees to learn from one another and troubleshoot. Finally, the pilots that prove most successful will have an opportunity to expand their impact at the scale stage. We expect to award at least 1 scale grant of up to $1 million over 2 years. Depending on funding, we may be able to support more than 1 scale grantee. With your input, we've designed this challenge structure to give your big ideas the best possible chance of success. A year ago, this challenge was just a big idea, but thanks to an incredible team of people, it's now a reality. Thank you to Dr. Hudson and Dr. Schaefer for your support of this initiative, to Afton for writing the incredible report that inspired this innovation challenge, to all of the residents and stakeholders who shared their input and early feedback on the design of the challenge, and to Alina Farouk and the entire team of United Way and U of M Poverty Solutions staff who've been working behind the scenes to make it all happen. With this challenge, we are committed to working alongside challenge applicants and community residents in partnership to unstack the deck and create a more equitable Detroit. I'm sure I speak for all of us in saying that we all want all Detroiters to be able to more easily make ends meet and to have a fair chance to build a strong financial foundation on which to pursue their happiness. It will take partnerships and new ideas to get us there. If you're a resident, you have firsthand knowledge of these challenges, which means you have some of the best ideas about how to change things for the better. Please share your big ideas with us so that your ideas can inform applicant organizations' thinking. If you represent an organization, please fill out that expression of interest form. Start talking to your colleagues about your big ideas and attend our collaboration mixers and workshops. Some of the organizations in the room today are nonprofits that already do financial empowerment work. We want your big ideas. Think beyond your normal constraints and ways of doing business. Some of the organizations in the room today are in adjacent sectors, focused, for example, on housing or workforce development. We want your big ideas too. Financial well-being is interconnected with housing stability and quality employment, and I'm sure you have great ideas. Some of the organizations in the room today are private sector, financial institutions, government, or others that don't typically pursue grants. We want your big ideas too. Your organizations have powerful platforms with which to improve accessibility, affordability, and usability of key financial products and opportunities, benefits, banking, savings, loans, and more. And some of the organizations in the room today are community, neighborhood, faith-based, or other organizations who might not see financial being as their core mission. But we want your big ideas too. You are focused on improving life for your constituents, and most things in life are made easier when people can consistently make ends meet, build up a small financial cushion, and have access to affordable credit. You have a unique perspective to share representing the community you serve, and participating in this challenge can help bring about big changes to make your community's financial lives easier. There's a role for everyone. Now is the time to think big, think together, and turn those thoughts into action. I can't wait to see what big ideas we can turn into reality together. And now, with all of that, I'm so excited. I'd like to turn the mic over for some remarks from our funding partners who have joined with United Way to support this challenge. Thank you so much to Pierre Baton of JP Morgan Chase, Jenna Young of General Motors, and Linda Nosby of Comerica Bank for your generous support and for believing in this innovation challenge.
Thank you, Megan, and special thanks to United Way of Southeastern Michigan, as well as University of Michigan Poverty Solutions for inviting us to be a part of this incredible kickoff event. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'm Pierre Baton, and I lead corporate responsibility for JP Morgan Chase in Detroit. At JP Morgan Chase, we're proud to have been a part of the community here in Detroit for more than 85 years, and we're thrilled to be partnering on this initiative with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. Our work in Detroit has really grown to include a now $200 million commitment to invest in key drivers of economic opportunity and wealth creation. And our model of impact is built around 4 specific pillars of inclusive growth: jobs and skills, small business expansion, neighborhood revitalization, and financial health. We're excited about this challenge because of the potential for cross-sector impact, and also because it presents an opportunity for organizations on the ground that are doing the work, that see this day to day, day in, day out, to build new partnerships and to create novel ideas and approaches to correcting the structural barriers that keep many Detroiters trapped in poverty. We're focused on creating a more inclusive economy, one that provides equal opportunities for all Detroiters, and it's a tall order. It's not something that can be accomplished without collaboration from the business community, nonprofit partners, government leaders as well. So we're thrilled again just to be joined by so many amazing organizations that are looking to take part and become strong partners on this initiative. Now, please allow me to welcome my colleague, Jenna Young from General Motors.
All right, can you guys hear me? Okay, had a little bit of trouble coming off mute there. Sorry about that. And thank you so much, Pierre. I'm so proud to join you and our friends at Comerica on this mission, and just truly inspired by everything we've heard today and everyone that's spoken. So I echo also Pierre's thanks to the teams at U of M and United Way who helped bring this program to life, and who came to us at GM with the opportunity to help support the mission. So those who know GM and our 100-year history in Detroit know that the core of our business is creating innovative solutions that move society forward. But that's also core to how we engage in the community, and that's why we're so invested in this program. When United Way came to us with the opportunity, it was kind of a no-brainer. And on behalf of everyone at General Motors, I encourage everyone on this call to pitch for the funding. We want to see your ideas. And it may sound cliche, but you really do have the power to be the change here. And we want to lift up and invest in your ideas and your missions. So hopefully the creative juices that are born from this project offer replicable solutions. I think for other cities across the country, I think this is just the start, and we're so excited to be a part of it. And with that, I'm going to thank you again for allowing me to join in this call, and for being such an inspiration, everyone. And I'm going to turn it over to our friend Linda at Comerica Bank.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, we can hear you.
Perfect, thank you. So just like Jenna and Pierre, I want to say, first and foremost, happy Black History Month, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jenna from General Motors, as well as Pierre from Chase. Likewise, we at Comerica Bank are excited to join the Detroit Financial Wellbeing Innovative Challenge as well. My name is Linda Nosby, and I am the market manager here in Southeast Michigan. And on behalf of Comerica Bank, we appreciate the opportunity to be part of the challenge. We are honored to support the collective efforts to transform what we learn and what we know about Detroit. And we understand that this will have generational impact on the city of Detroit. Powerful partnerships and a dedication to serve and help others became a critical ingredient to uplift individuals, and we've seen it throughout our history here in Michigan. Comerica Bank has served Detroit for over 172 years. We are proud of our commitment to the city and the relationships we've built along the way. We set out each and every day to raise expectations of what a bank should be, and that's our driving focus on how we can help communities strive. We remain committed to finding new and unique ways to succeed in positively shaping and improving the lives of others, especially our Detroit partners. Throughout our financial education programs, we have seen firsthand how the learning of financial principles translates into financial empowerment. The initiatives that has been described here today will help deliver financial empowerment to reaffirm the beliefs that education and training makes a difference in our community. Here at Comerica Bank, we remain steadfastly committed to delivering resources to those in need. We take this approach with all ages. Anyone from K2 to seniors can benefit from this assistance. We here are grateful for our long-standing partnership with the United Way. We can't say enough about the work that you do. We do know that United Way understands what the needs are in the community and the ability to build dynamic programs to help Detroiters overcome multifaceted barriers that will be a critical drive in this partnership. I will be remiss if I did not thank the University of Michigan Poverty Solutions for an outstanding research and attention to alleviating poverty. Your work here today establishes the framework and reference to the problems at hand and will guide us over the next several years. Again, I want to thank you all for allowing us to be a part of something as special and exciting as the Innovation Challenge. And we do look forward to working and engaging and providing positive results in the weeks and months ahead. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Jenna. And thank you, Linda, for your words. We're in the home stretch. I just want to do a quick check-in with everybody. Everybody good? Everybody's all right? Yeah? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay. We want to remind everybody that if you have questions, feedback, critique, whatever it is, that we will be having a Q&A next Wednesday, February the 9th. So you can click the link in the chat. I'm going to ask them to put that link back in the chat so that there we go, to register for that Q&A session. Listen, a lot of you also were sending me private notes about the word cloud and putting that back up because it was only up for a little bit of time, but Debbie is going to come back and we're going to see the word cloud again for this next interactive activity and reflection. Debbie, I'm passing it back to you.
Don't you just love how that segue works? Okay, so as you've heard, HFLI is going to be providing, as your human-centered design partners, direct support to participants around the technical assistance workshops, and we are thrilled to be able to do that. In just a few minutes, we're going to have you move into breakout rooms and do a group reflection on the question that was posed earlier. If you had a magic wand that can improve Detroiters' financial lives, what would you use that magic wand for? We want you to think about that question. We want you to think about everything you've been learning and hearing and experiencing today. When you get into your breakout room, start by briefly introducing yourself, but keep it brief because we don't have a lot of time. Individually, take a few seconds, maybe 30 or so, to review the word cloud that was created earlier with your input. And then discuss together one or more of the following questions. What have you noticed about today's experience? What might be inspiring to you about today's experience? Or if we could remove constraints, what possibilities could you imagine to address the source of these financial hardships? Use the word cloud as your inspiration. We're going to move you into those breakout rooms. You'll have about 5 minutes, and we're dropping the slides to support your breakout room discussion into the chat so you can access it there. We'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're filtering back in. You had a rich conversation with the people in your small breakout rooms. As you're coming back in, I'd love to have you drop some of the ideas or some of the inspirational comments that came out in your small breakout rooms. I completely agree. The time is too short. We know that this is just the start of a conversation. It's just the start of idea generation and building connection. So understand that we also feel that pain and know that this is not something that we can treat lightly, but that you're beginning this journey or continuing a journey, if you're already on this path towards really addressing financial well-being for Detroiters, is so important. And thank you for that. I hope that the ideas that you shared, our group talked a lot about the importance of storytelling and making the details and the data come to life in a human-centered way. And that's what HFLI really thinks about, what we're looking to work with different teams and different applicants towards making those ideas that you're developing connected to the stories, the insights, the needs that people are expressing and are sharing. And as things are coming up in the chat, I'm noticing the challenge to promote financial health, issue of reparations, connections between system change and the transparency of data, envisioning poverty and wealth on a graph to really move along the continuum toward financial well-being. So many ideas are coming in. It's going to be hard to comment on all of them, but please keep track of them and keep those thoughts coming. Basic income, minimum wage, making sure that that is a livable, reliable source of revenue and to add to that potential cash flow. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you as applicants. We encourage you to bring those big ideas, as Megan said, forward and to continue to think about the data that's available, but the stories and connecting with community members to deeply understand and build empathy with and for this challenge. Orlando, I'm going to turn it back over to you and return us all to this larger conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you to everyone who has participated in the breakout rooms. We know that the time in the breakout rooms is too short and it's never enough time, but we hope that there were some connections made, some organic collisions that happen, as my friend Marlo Stoudemire would put it, to serve as the impetus for further connection and conversation. I want to bring on Alina Farouk to talk about next steps within the challenge. Alina, good to see you.
Thank you so much, Orlando. And thank you, Debbie, for leading us through what has proven to be an inspirational reflection on this call. If you were having trouble accessing that PDF in the chat, we've dropped it again, and we will also include that in our event recap email. I know that word cloud was large and complicated and had so many great ideas on it, and we would love to keep exploring those ideas with you. I really cannot wait to see these ideas that are getting dropped in the chat turned into reality over these next few months. Before I continue, I want to stop and say how honored and humbled we are to have funding partners like JP Morgan Chase, GM, and Comerica, who embody the very spirit that this collaboration and this challenge is built on. Now, as we've launched this 5-year innovation challenge, we welcome additional conversations about contributions to the challenge. If you or your organization is interested in becoming a funding partner of the challenge, please reach out to me, or if you have one, your organization's United Way contact. Now I want to echo the themes of collective action that Megan shared with you. In this innovation challenge, there is a role for everyone. Whether you're a nonprofit, a neighborhood or faith-based organization, a financial institution, a government entity, a private corporation, or anything outside or in between, there is a role for you here. And over the last hour, we've shared a lot of information with you all. We talked about the historical inequities that unfairly disadvantage our residents. We talked about the data on what else prevents Detroiters from reaching financial stability. And we got into the nitty-gritty of what the next 5 years of the challenge will look like. So now I'd like to share with you how you can get involved with the challenge today. If you are an organization that is potentially interested in applying to the challenge, start by thinking about your big idea and consider your potential collaboration partners. At this time, you can go ahead and submit your expression of interest form in order to gain access to a community of other potential applicants and therefore widen your network of potential collaboration partners. It is totally okay if you are not entirely certain whether your organization wants to apply. We still encourage you to submit that expression of interest form anyways, as it's not a commitment to apply, it's just simply your way of gaining access to the mixers and workshops that will help you refine your big idea and develop partnerships. You and your team will then have until April 4th to create and submit a video pitch, officially entering you into the Detroit Financial Wellbeing Innovation Challenge. If you have any questions, please register to attend that Q&A session taking place next Wednesday, February 9th. The registration link has been shared in the chat. Now, if you are a community member or Detroit resident, we want you to be involved in this challenge as well. There are two main ways you can be involved as an individual. If interested in submitting your ideas, you can do so by visiting our Instagram or Facebook page and commenting on the post regarding financial stability. You can also visit our website to leave your comments via submission form. Or if interested in engaging more deeply and providing feedback on the video pitches that are submitted in April, please visit our website to let us know you're interested in joining our community review group. Community reviewers will review a handful of video pitches in early April to help participants build their final concept proposals. Again, if you have any questions about how to get involved, I would encourage you to attend the Q&A session taking place next Wednesday, February 9th. Now, if you are not applying to the challenge and you are not providing input on ideas, we still encourage you to be involved. Please share what you learned today with your friends and colleagues who might jump at this opportunity to think big, plan, pilot, and scale up their ideas with us. As the challenge manager and your point of contact on all challenge-related questions, I'm thrilled to be a part of this work and can't wait to hear about the innovations you want to bring into our communities. So if you have any questions about getting involved with the challenge in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email address is in the chat and is financial.wellbeing@unitedwaysem.org. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Alina, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I want to reiterate that with collective action, we know that there is a role for everyone, and we know that the eradication of poverty is urgent work. And it is not work that needs to be performed. It is not work that needs a whole lot of jargon. What we simply need to do is eradicate poverty and hold up the experience and expertise of the people who are experiencing this on the pavements of our neighborhoods in this work to eradicate poverty in the city of Detroit. All of you who are here have a role. The city of Detroit municipal government has a role. The corporations who are here that have contributed to some of the systemic inequities that we see today on the pavements of our neighborhood has a role. Our residents have a role. Our community development organizations organizations and grass tops organizations all have a role and a responsibility and should have the urgency to eradicate poverty on the pavements of our neighborhoods. This issue is palpable for many. This is an issue that so many of us have experienced. A lot of us live in the duality of being on the receiving end of systemic inequities and now are being charged to fix it. I want you to know that we all are fit to function in this fight, that the eradication of poverty is first and foremost on the minds of people here, our community development organizations, and our educational institutions. And so this research is not to add to the grandiosity of the University of Michigan. This research and this platform is not to add to the grandiosity of the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. It is only and sole purpose to be used as an advocacy tool to supplement the advocacy, the work, and the experience and expertise to supplement and provide platform and agency to all of us doing this amazing work. This is life work. This is life-changing work. And this work is important to so many Detroiters. And so once again, we want to thank you. We thank you so much for joining us today. We cannot wait to see these powerful ideas that you all have referenced in the word cloud, in the breakout sessions, to become a reality over the course of this challenge. And as a reminder, we want to let you know that all slides and materials, as well as the session recording, will be shared in the event recap email. We want you to take care of yourself on this snowy couple days. Happy Black History Month, everybody. We want you to be well. We'll see you next time.